morning and welcome to Breakfast Central. We thank you for joining us and starting your Monday with us. To our virtual audience streaming live on YouTube, you're welcome. And for those who do not know, we're streaming live on YouTube via News Central TV Live. For the next 3 hours, we'll be looking at some of the biggest political stories. A lot has happened. It was the NEC meeting. The PDP had their 108th NEC meeting yesterday. We did start the conversation. I will continue the larger part of it today. You're welcome to the show. I am Olive Emodi.
And of course, my name is Mazino Apil. Yes, I'm still here since yesterday. Of course, I will be here again, perhaps, maybe even tomorrow. But, of course, great conversations coming your way this morning. Big concern for me, Nigeria security emboldened Boko Haram. I'm wondering exactly where this will go. Today's conversation, well, it's going to be a good one. Like I said from before, Mazino Apil here.
My name is Chiwetel. Okay, I was waiting for you guys to do the introduction anyway, but I guess I'll just, okay, now it's time for that.
Go ahead.
My name is Chiwetel Yes, I'm sure you're wondering, who's this guy? Anyway, for now, I'm here on Breakfast Central. And of course, it's going to be an amazing time having conversations around different issues, of course, that affect us as Nigerians, especially that conversation that has to do with INEC. I'm really, really interested in that. So if you're looking for a place where you can be updated as to what's happening in Nigeria, then you are in the right place.
And not to worry, Benga and Joe are not away permanently. It's just a temporary shift. We decided to have our colleagues who are on other belts to join us this morning on Breakfast Central. You know, just a mix so you get to feel their vibe as well. Joe and Benga will be back in a moment, and we definitely miss you both. But
it's almost as if you don't want us
and
here.
It's great to have you on the show. I'm going to introduce you to our special bell of conscience.
So I saw Benga bring the whistle yesterday.
No, he's just being dramatic.
Okay, no, I think so. So I think you have to bring something when you come here.
No, you don't have to.
So I ordered a gongo, but it's on the way. It's coming. The dispatch guy will get here soon.
Town crier. It's giving town crier energy. Anyway, for those who have never met our bell of conscience, this is what we ring at different points. The thing is, there's no particular time when we have to ring the bell. You just know. Your ancestors just tell you that this is a time. This is a bell-worthy moment. Anyway, to our virtual audience, please go on YouTube and give a special welcome to Chiwetel. Welcome him to Breakfast Central. I'm sure that beyond today, from time to time, you might get to see him, as well as Mazino, who you see over the course of the weekends on Breakfast Extra. But let's get into the conversation proper. Nigeria's electoral umpire, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has dismissed claims linking its chairman, Professor Joash Amukpitan, to a controversial X account describing the reports as a coordinated act of impersonation and digital manipulation. The commission said findings from an independent forensic investigation confirmed Amukpitan does not own or operate any personal account on the platform, contrary to viral posts circulating on social media. The controversy began on the 10th of April 2026 when screenshots surfaced online alleging that an account identified as Joash Amukpitan made a partisan comment in response to another user, and that was Dayo Israel, sometime in 2022, where he had put up a post talking about the wins they had, and the response of the said Joash Amukpitan account was, "Victory is sure." Now, these posts were accompanied by purported evidence, including email records, phone numbers, and financial verification data, which was widely shared across online platforms. However, INEC, in a statement yesterday, Monday, the 20th of April, issued by its chief press secretary, Adedayo Oketola, said the claims were false and not supported by any verifiable digital evidence. According to the commission, a multi-layered forensic analysis involving platform data, internet archives, open source intelligent tools, and identity verification processes found no link between the account and Amukpitan. Now, here's the public press statement. If you can see, there's a summary of the key findings that they put there. So if we may scroll to the summary of the key findings, we will take, let's scroll up. Let's scroll up a little. Great. So let's keep scrolling.
Yeah.
All right. So you can see summary of the findings. Let's pause here. Number one says, the X account was created in September 2022. However, there is no linkage between the X, that is Twitter account, and Professor Amukpitan's Yahoo or Unijust emails. So this was one of the issues that came to the fore at the time. And they're telling you that this is a key finding for them, that the initial account had no link to Professor Joash Amukpitan's account and that they could confirm that. Now, Number 2, which is a key area of analysis. Timestamp analysis shows the alleged 2026 reply Victory is Sure was posted 13 minutes before the original post by Dayo. Can we please go back to that? Can we go back to number 2? Thank you very much. Number 2 said, the key timing said that the reply, Joash Amukpiton, was posted 13 minutes before the original tweet, saying, said this is physically impossible on any digital platform. They said it's a fabricated reply. So the question is, can you have replied to a tweet that did not existed? You know, I don't know if we have the original tweet and the response as well. Anyway, number 3 says, Wayback Machine searches show 0 records of Joash Amukpiton on X before April 2026. And, you know, their verdict is corroborating evidence. Let's keep scrolling to see, to number 4, to see what the remaining part of it is. Number 4, it says, okay, the alleged reply to Joash Amukpiton to Daniel Israel's post is absent from all live and archived threads. On April 10, 2026, the same day the screenshots went viral, Joash Amukpiton was renamed to Sunday Vibe or set to private and labeled parody account. This is consistent with deliberate impersonation and damage control. So they claim that this is an impersonation. And finally, 5, at least 7 fake Facebook and Instagram accounts using Professor Amukpiton's name and profile photographs were identified. The pattern suggests a sustained and coordinated impersonation operation. Now, if we scroll further, you see major investigation findings. Number 1, technical profile of X account under investigation. You can see there's an account identity timeline. They've given some other details. You know, this sort of summarizes the conversation that we've had. And the question is, does this amount to sufficient evidence? Do Nigerians believe, you know, after INEC has done this thorough forensic analysis, that indeed Professor Joash Amukpiton had nothing to do with this? And bear in mind, why this is an issue for those who have no idea or who don't understand why this has become a major issue is because, 1, the president who was sworn in 2023 had appointed Professor Joash Amukpiton, who was sworn in October 2025. So the question is, even though there had been issues regarding why the president has the power to appoint the INEC chairman, because it says if you have to be a part of this election, wouldn't it affect the credibility if you then determine who decides the winning of that election, because he who plays the piper dictates the tune? But that is how we've run it in Nigeria. So that is the reason why this whole hula baloo has come to the fore. But gentlemen, let's get your thoughts. Mazino?
Very simple thought here. I like the fact that Nigerians are becoming more and more critical when it comes to these matters. But then again, at the heart of it, there's still one word, and that's trust. I think I mentioned this word many times yesterday. Trust is very important when it comes to 2027, and Nigerians are not taking this lightly. First of all, trust in institutions when it comes to the information that they're putting out, and then scrutinizing these informations, whether it is from these institutions or individuals that might be putting them out. Like, I really like the forensics, or what do you call it now?
Yeah. The forensic
analysis that INEC actually came out with. I'm forced to go through it myself and also maybe even believe it, quite frankly. But it was really critical. It was really step by step and all of that. But I think for 2027, Nigerians now know one thing for sure. The fact that you are not going to be voting on policy alone or what people say here and there. But we're looking at performance, whether it's performance from the institution of INEC itself or whether it's performance from the different parties, whether opposition or the APC itself. So I'm looking for a good election. Hopefully it's going to be fair. I'm hoping.
Okay, I'll take comments from YouTube in a moment, but let's hear your thoughts, Chiwetel.
I think what we need to understand is, at this point in time, Nigerians need transparency. That's the key word here. That's what everybody's talking about. Transparency. So INEC comes out to say, oh, we've carried out a forensic investigation. It's easy to say, can you tell us who carried it out? Can you tell us something that shows that, okay, the person who did this was actually someone that can be trusted? Because if you look at the whole situation, INEC, the first word in INEC is independent. It doesn't look like INEC is actually independent, because like we said earlier, why does the president have the power to actually choose the chairman of INEC? We need to look into that conversation. It's something that is a problem here. INEC is really not independent because the funds they're going to get, where they're getting it from, the same federal government, of course, that is also going to be involved in the next election. So at this point, it's really tricky. I don't know. Right now, looking at the way things are going, building up to the elections, Nigerians don't even trust INEC already. And I think it says something bad about the election right now already, because it looks like whatever happens, Nigerians are still going to raise an eyebrow. So right now, as it is now, I don't know if the president is willing to somehow buy Nigerians over to his side to make them trust him at this point.
Right, very well said, gentlemen. So I think the first place I'll begin is that a fundamental principle of natural justice is nemo judex in causa sua, which means that a party cannot be a judge in his own cause. You cannot be the one that is under accusation and the one doing the investigating. Now, INEC says they got a separate person, an independent forensic analyst. Leave the forensic analysts to be the ones to share their findings, and you can reshare. I think that would have made it look a little more, made Nigerians be more receptive to it, make the fact-finding and investigation process a lot clearer for Nigerians to see, because I cannot be accused of something and be the one to then say I'm investigating myself, you know, because there is a conflict of interest, and chances are that people will not believe what I say because I'm the one in the spotlight. Bear in mind that Professor Amupiton has been, you know, under fire in the past few, let's say the past few months. You know, the first 6 months of his administration have been fraught with a lot of issues, from fixing elections during Ramadan to the revalidation of voter exercises, to those who argue whether Anambra was a proper litmus test for his coming into office or not. You know, so there are many issues that have. Oh, and then how can I forget the almighty recognition of leadership in the ADC? You know, so many issues have come to the fore, which is why we had seen many Nigerians advocating for Amupiton to resign. And quite frankly, even with this response, we'll go on X shortly to get reactions. You will see that a number of people do not seem to buy this response. There are those who believe, but there are those who still call for the INEC chairman to resign. In all of the explanation, beyond. So for me, I would say that you cannot put something on nothing and expect it to stand. The foundation of it is the investigation should not just have been independent, but should have been seen to be independent by Nigerians. Let's put the independence in the Independent National Electoral Commission again. And, you know, when you say you want justice to be done, it's not just for justice to be seen to be done. It has to be seen to be done by all, right? And in this situation, even if you can't have all, let's have the majority agreeing that, okay, this was indeed a fair process of investigating. But I do not understand the concept of a reply being posted 13 minutes before the original post. That one does not seem like it can make sense. But we'll head to comments. Let's start with YouTube, and then we'll head to X. Speaking about comment, INEC with this forensic report is a pointer of how...
What do you call it from before?
He called it four-stick.
Four-stick.
He now said, forensic report is a pointer of how 2027 will be filled with all forensic jargon. That's from Frank Ubute. Idris Onifade says, the number 2 shows that the investigator did a poor job. The post was edited by Dayo after Amupiton's comment. A criminal will always leave trace. INEC keeps exposing the rot in their system. Oyedokun Olaide says, INEC is the one investigating itself. Does that make any sense? Believe INEC at your own risk. Prince Ajibade says, when you live in a country where transparency and accountability seem like a big deal, then progress will forever be an illusion. Prosper Henry says, INEC investigating INEC, LOL. Michael Zeus says, INEC has made its worst mistake. Where are SERAP and civil society? It is time for you and human rights lawyers to drag INEC to court. If Drash conducts 2027 election, then it will be the worst ever. Franklin says, so analysis can be made like these detailed, but we can't detail the accounts of bandits online. Whom are we really fooling?
We're going to get to that conversation. we have lots to talk about when it comes to that one.
Honestly, Lenin Equerry says the points number 2 just gave them out. No one replies to an unposted post on social media. This is 2026. We're not daft. They've quickly gone to open multiple Facebook parody accounts to score points. Prince Ajibade says, why do our leaders always find it difficult to be accountable? Or the simplest thing of being transparent, to make little things expected of public servants look like a big deal. Isn't that crazy? All right, we'll take a few more comments when we return, but let's now head to X to take. But before we do, part of the criticism against the government of the day was the fact that several people in power seemed to be speaking for the INEC chairman. And one of them is the Senate president, who, when they were doing the launch of, when they were calling for doing the launch of the NRS building in Abuja, had then said, oh, they said that he said victory is sure. But he did not say that victory is sure for the APC. Did he say that? No. But he has also come back to debunk this and say that it's an impersonation. And many have argued that him even saying that alluded to the fact that
maybe he tried to cover up the wrong.
Yes, that he's in a way
implicating himself.
Exactly, implicating and indicting himself. So many scenarios. Bayo Onanuga as well. There are many people within the ruling party that seem to have been speaking in support of Professor Joash Amukpiton. But let's really see what Nigerians are saying on X and their tweets.
Now, let me take this one. Our Foundation Nupe lawyer says, whoever thought it's a good idea to issue this statement should be fired, something they have forgotten and moved on to another agenda. Delete this, please, he says. This is a trader_UD says, we investigated ourselves and found out we did nothing wrong. That's very interesting, sarcasm.
Very interesting.
INEC under Professor Joash Amukpiton carried out a forensic investigation and concluded that the X account doesn't belong to him. This is the same INEC protecting our votes. God help Nigeria. Do we have another one? I have something to say after this. Now, Joash Amukpiton should not preside over any matter in which he is a subject of controversy. Step aside first. I'll tell you something when it comes to Nigerians and our opinion regarding institutions. Yes, I do admit the fact that there is a total lack of trust, but I also believe in balance when it comes to looking at critical issues. For this, now, if you ask me, I think if I was to be brought under investigation, I would like to prove myself not guilty. And that's what INEC has done. Remember, I'm talking about balance here. That's what INEC has done. And I'm calling for another investigation, an independent investigation separate from INEC's investigation. I think that will settle the claims. If we have that, I think that perhaps maybe we'll be able to get to the bottom of whether it's an impersonated account or if it's a real account. But
the question is, do we need all this drama? And I mean, is Joash Amukpiton the only person we can put in there? I think at the end of the day,
it's too late for that now, isn't it?
No, you can change it.
So I think
you can change it. You can let him go just to save face, and at least for once, let Nigerians just be on your side.
So the problem is that I think that is the technicality to actually letting him go. And I see your argument, which is what a number of Nigerians are calling for. But the technicality to that is we have little time between now and the presidential election. There's so much that needs to be done. But
if something goes wrong, I'm not praying for that, but if something goes wrong with him, we'll find a way out of it.
Yeah, but critics will push back and say, oh, is it not better for us to have an election that many would see and argue that is a very decent election, right? So the challenge is with that. In all of this, it goes back to a structural challenge with how the INEC chairman is being appointed. And it's not necessarily as much a Professor Joash Amukpiton problem as it is a systemic problem in that our constitution provides for the president being the one to appoint the INEC chairman. And when we're talking about electoral reforms, those are one of the things, and constitutional reforms, these are some of the key issues that should be brought forward. Why should the president have the power to appoint the INEC chairman? Many would argue that the INEC chairman should be an elective position. That way, everybody has a say in determining. Now, we can say we put this person there, and you're not thinking, or at least you're not thinking about the possibility of the executive manipulating it. Is that still a possibility? Yes. But the chances are slimmer, and more people will tend to trust the person because they trust the process. I think it was Peter Obi who said, for you to be an honorable, the process that brought you into power must be an honorable process, right? So that's the thing that a number of Nigerians want to see that.
We don't trust the process, so we don't trust the man.
Exactly. So he's a function, he's suffering from, there might be personal issues, but it's also a function of how he was put in power.
I like how critical Nigerians are now. Nigerians are very critical when it comes to these institutions because of the lack of trust, like I said from before. However, the one thing that we always fail to look at is, or to understand, is the fact that the power rests with you and I as members of, well, the voting class. Are we doing up? If you ask most people what is their relationship between them and their local government chairman, for instance, people don't even know the names of their chairman. And that's where it always starts from. While we're blaming institutions for doing the wrong things, what about your own effort in the grand scheme of things? Have you put in your own effort? Have you followed the line of authority all the way to the presidency? And then perhaps maybe we can start to argue about the INEC chairman. Right. That's just a simple
what you're saying, Mazino. You can even tell from even the Electoral Act when it was supposed to be signed. And there was that issue of transmission. Is it going to be done real time, not real time? Some people actually protested. I was expecting at that point in time the Nigerians would actually take advantage of that and start to talk to their lawmakers representing them, because we are all represented at the House of Assembly. In the National Assembly, we are represented there. So I was expecting they were going to take advantage of that period and actually protest or make it a big deal. But everybody just sat back and everybody's just watching. And
well, to be fair, they did. I mean,
no, some
online.
people, not exactly online, not as much
Twitter
as it should be.
There were people who went to the streets
Really?
to protest. We did. We had the likes of
Actually,
people who occupied
actually,
the
very,
National
very true.
Assembly.
Actually, yeah,
It was
Yes.
not so much.
It wasn't backed.
They did.
That's what I'm
I know that
saying.
we
Why
had-
was it not backed?
Well, anyway, I also want to look at another article. I'm going to read an article by the Daily Trust newspaper. This article was posted on the 13th of April, and they also did their own independent fact check. I'm going to read word for word. A fact check by Daily Trust has established a link between the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Joash Amukbutan, and an X account in which partisan commentaries were made in 2023. This is as calls for his resignation intensify following allegations that he showed sympathy to the APC candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu before and after the 2023 elections. So, if you go further and read down, you would see the fact check evidence. The claim, Amukbutan owns or operated the controversial X handle at Joash Amukbutan, which has since been altered and labeled the parody account. Now, they stated their verification process. A, account history and username changes. An investigation into the account history shows that the X account with user ID 1567086242164101120 was created on the 6th of September 2022. It originally used the handle at Joash Amukbutan. On April 10th, 2026, amid controversy, it was renamed to Sunday Vibe 00, locked, protected, and later called the parody account. Using OSINT tools and platforms like Tweet Hunter and X's internal search system, it was confirmed that user IDs on X are permanent, even when usernames change. Also, the account retained the Joash Amukbutan identity for years before the change. This establishes a continuous digital trail linking all versions of the account. Again, this is the Daily Trust investigation. And then they go ahead to do a content analysis. You know, you can go on their website and read it. And you would see that. So what we're seeing is that there's a contrast between the findings of the Daily Trust investigators, some of the ex-investigators, and what Twitter has said. I'm going to summarize what Daily Trust said. It says, there is credible evidence that an ex-formerly Twitter account was previously operated under the handle Joash Amukbutan with a consistent digital history and authentic content. At the same time, another long-lasting account bearing his exact name also exists, with posts attributed to him over time. The timing of the modification amid recent controversy raises unresolved questions. On this basis, the claim is rated mostly true. That is not my rating. That is the Daily Trust rating. INEC has come out to also share its finding and its rating. Nigerians have shared their thoughts on X as well as on YouTube. And you can go on YouTube as well and share your own comments. I'll take 2 more comments on YouTube before we move over to our next story. Still looking on YouTube, James G says, Amukbutan cannot be changed now. There is no alternative for now. A professor and an SCN will declare results of an election in which one of the contestants appointed him. You don't know that, please don't implicate yourself. Prince Ajibade says, in saner countries, without the citizens asking him to resign, he would have, if you understand what it means to be a public servant. Kilo day. Keep your comments coming. Let's move on to our next story. As insecurity appears to be on the rise in Nigeria again, kidnappers recently ambushed an eastbound GUO bus on the Ore-Benin expressway, shooting the driver dead before abducting the passengers. Let's take a look at the video. Online mediums also reported another attack by bandits in Awon Village, which left 2 people killed, 1 person left critically ill in the hospital, and a number of ladies kidnapped. Lastly, we also got reports of bandits releasing videos of John Arum, who was kidnapped on the 11th of April on his way to Kaduna from Plateau State. At first, the bandits demanded 30 million naira, but the family pleaded, and then they brought it back down to 5 million naira. The family raised the 5 million naira, but the bandits demanded they added something extra to the 5 million, of which the family added 1 million, but that has not stopped the bandits from demanding for some more ransom. He made a video. He's a 28-year-old keyboard technician. And unfortunately, this is a video. And this is a site that is not too unfamiliar with us as Nigerians. As every other day, we're seeing videos of people making videos saying, oh, today's date is so and so. I'm in the hands of, that they are in the hands of the bandits. I'm being a typical Nigerian. And then they will say how much is being demanded and beg Nigerians, please save my life. We've had many cases like this. Even on the show recently, we interviewed English Alaji when he shared the cases that he was advocating for. And this is really, really sad. Gentlemen.
This is very sad, if you ask me. I've been following this, especially this young man who was kidnapped. The videos they're all over the place. But more recently, my concern has been with this video we're playing right now. This has been in Ore Road, and the reason why I'm very concerned about this is because this is a route I use like almost every 3 weeks, so maybe almost at least once a month. And to me, it seems like as if this threat is getting closer and closer and closer. Well, to me, and I shouldn't be worried because there are people who this is their lived reality.
Absolutely.
But then again, why are we having this become more rampant now is the big question that we have to ask. Many people argue that it's because the government treats this as a business, or rather kidnappers are treating this as a business, where you actually have instances where there are cases of, what do you call it now, ransom being paid and all of that. So it will embolden the criminals. They would want to do more, and that's what we're seeing. We're not seeing anybody being brought to book, however. Instead, we're talking about reconciliation with them, or is it amnesty with them? And that's the big problem. When you give amnesty, well, you're saying there's nobody to be caught, there's nobody to be used as, say, a scapegoat, and people are going to be forced, or the criminals are going to be forced to continue doing this. But then the government does have a very thin thread to tread where it comes to global policies on negotiating with terrorists and, of course, the immediacy of human life. What do people do? How do they establish contact with the real terrorists so that it's not that you're paying other people are not paying the real terrorists? But then again, these negotiations should never happen in the first place. But we see a case where they are happening. And I think this is what's emboldening the criminals. And that's what we're going to keep having unless something really critical happens when it comes to security, which is stretched thin, by the way, currently.
It is stretched thin, indeed. I mean, maybe in fairness to the government, we will talk about the fact that we recently heard on the 7th of April that the government had sentenced, the Federal High Court in Abuja had sentenced 4 Boko Haram members to life imprisonment for their activities between 2021 and 2024. But that does not take away from what you have mentioned as well in terms of Operation Safe Corridor and whether that is still a viable tool for dealing with insecurity in Nigeria, especially because, you know, there are those who would argue that justice is not reintegrating, de-radicalizing and reintegrating them into a society where they already caused havoc and mayhem. Well, let's quickly take what Nigerians are saying about this on X, and we'll get your reactions on YouTube as well.
This one is from @Shude_ND1 says, it's really tragic to see this happen in Nigeria every day. Our government must take stronger action against these terrorist groups.
Government indeed must.
Vane @John_Roy says, we have 25 to 30 checkpoints from Lagos to Ore. The checkpoints are only slowing cars down in order to make kidnapping easier. Take them off the road so that drivers know not to stop.
Let me jump in there and say something. While these checkpoints are troublesome, while they are annoying, while you hate seeing them because you know what happens, especially when it comes to the commercial drivers and the police, the fact is that I actually do feel safer with the checkpoints. What alternative do you have?
I would rather see the checkpoints as well.
Yeah, I would rather see them at this point. Benin Ore Road is a very long stretch. There's nothing on either side. It's all forest on either side. So yeah, just leave the checkpoints there for, even if they're 40.
Let's have as many checkpoints. Actually, having more checkpoints is a good idea.
It is a good idea.
It signals the government's
awareness to the critical situation.
Exactly.
But when we talk about insecurity in Nigeria, we've had conversations where they tell you the military they were here some minutes ago, right? And the next minute they're not there. And then, if you're going to be there, be effective, If you're going to be there, be effective. Don't just be there at checkpoint to slow cars down. To probably, and most of these checkpoints, if you check it out, they're actually looking for a way to get some money from the drivers.
I think in the absence of nothing, I don't think that we should. I wouldn't. I wouldn't query the presence of the checkpoints.
If they're going to be there, they should be effective.
No, definitely. I think that checkpoints are important. I can't take that away because there's no way that you want to... We criticize them when we don't see the checkpoints, but we must also applaud the states within the country that are putting effort. The Lagos State, for example, Lagos State Police Command has intensified efforts to tackle crime within the state, and they've amplified the stop and search operation across key areas. We do have our correspondent, Victor Mbadiwe, who's put together a package in that regard, and we'll bring you in that shortly. But what we must say is we will continue to ask the government, hold the government to account whenever we hear stories like this, because the primary responsibility of any government is to provide security for its citizens. And when that isn't done, many will count that as failure on the part of the government. And every Nigerian life counts. We don't have to wait until it's 10, 20. It has to be every Nigerian life. And there's something, gentlemen, that I find, that makes me sad. It's the way in which we throw numbers. When we see the Black Lives Matter protest, they say their name. Maybe when we start to personalize and humanize these people, as opposed to saying 20 killed, 30 killed, 10 killed. When we start to put names to them, we would understand the pain that these people are feeling. There are times when we've had to broadcast this, and my spirit is broken. You're seeing, we remember the video of the woman holding her loved one.
Oh yes,
life
from
has
the just,
on.
From the just instance.
The rest of us have continued with our life, but in some parts of the country, some people's lives have come to a standstill because they've lost their loved ones who will never be brought back to them again. And the only way we can honor their memories is ensure that this does not repeat itself. But the truth is, can we guarantee that it won't repeat itself? Anyway, let's head to X and take reactions on X. We'll take a few comments from YouTube as well. Still taking some more reactions on X.
This one is from at Agnieszko, says, one of the most scary things right now is to live in Nigeria. At CCOE says, this doesn't even make sense. Why kidnap people that are in the same dire situation that you are? If life was good for them, they wouldn't be traveling by road. At Pastor Henry C says, you spend the money you used to pay for round-trip flight before to buy a one-way bus trip, yet you think you're living in the country. This is terrible. And why is everyone going on with their movement without flinching or bathing an eyelid?
Well, these are the comments on X. We want our Nigeria to be safer for every one of us. We want a country where we are proud, of what we have. And where people, I miss the days, I've gone by night bus.
Oh,
from
good old
Lagos in the night, in the year 2000.
There's nothing like just closing your eyes in the evening and waking up in Abuja.
In the morning, you don't even want to use AC because of the
cool air.
The cool air. You're able to still buy things. We stop to eat. It was a beautiful time.
I don't think I'll ever
be able
see
to
that
travel
again.
at night. I cannot even travel by road in the day now. Talk more of night. Night is just putting myself at risk. But like I did say earlier, we'll continue to hold the government to account, and we will take the reports much later of Victor Mbadike as he shares with us the work that Lagos State government in particular is doing to amplify its security strategy. Let's now bring to you what our top stories this morning are on Breakfast Central. Police officer blocked presidential villa gate over pension scheme. We'll be bringing you the report and discussing this in depth. Boko Haram issues 72 hours ultimatum over 416 captives. That's not a joke. GIG to host Mobility Product Conference 2026. We're talking about the mobility ecosystem. And the 108th NEC meeting happened yesterday. Party leaders push for unity and credible primaries. We'll be reviewing the newspaper front pages with our analysts joining us. So please stay tuned for all these and more.
Welcome back and good morning again. Let's get to our top stories now. Our very first top story this morning for Breakfast Central. A movement around the seat of power was restricted yesterday in the early hours as retired police officers blocked the Asokoro gate entrance of the presidential villa in Abuja to protest poor welfare conditions. Now, the protesters are demanding immediate presidential access to the bill seeking to exempt the Nigerian police force from the contributory pension scheme, which follows months of agitation over what the retirees describe as systemic neglect and also inadequate retirement benefits. Our News Central's Sergey Ibrahim put together this package. Let's take a look.
Monday took a rather unusual start at the presidential villa as it played host to unexpected visitors.
This is our 1 month in Abuja. No answer. Today we must hear answer from president. Otherwise, we are not going to leave this gate.
These are retired police officers who have now blocked the entrance to the presidential villa over poor welfare. Their demands are simple: exemption from the contributory pension scheme and the president has sent to the bill establishing the Nigeria Police Pension Board.
Since when are they going to sign the bill for us so that they will remove? We want make them remove us from the PENCOM, generally the whole Nigerian police.
The ordeal has left several retirees expressing deep dissatisfaction with their career choice after decades of service in the force.
It's a wasted years. I wasted my 35 years of my livelihood in Nigeria police. I feel disgrace. If you want this country, banditry, armed robbery, kidnapping, insurgency to stop, I don't understand. Take care of the policemen.
For these retired police officers, the buck stops here. They say they're accepting nothing less than an assent to the police bill and also a complete removal from the contributory pension scheme. They believe that the president holds the power to end their sufferings.
In the end, they agreed to stand down after several unsuccessful attempts by the authorities.
Now they have addressed us, assuring us that Mr. President has already had us. We should stay down or we should go. If there is nothing done before 1 week, we should come back. But we are not going. We are going to hang around. They have been doing that to us.
Since July 2025, the retirees have been on the streets demanding their removal from the contributory pension scheme over allegations of poor welfare, delayed payments and corruption, as well as the establishment of a dedicated police pension board. In Abuja for News Central, Sergey Ibrahim.
Well, don't worry, Olive, I got this. Now let's introduce our guest. Let's bring in CSP Raphael I. Iruwainu, retired. He's National Coordinator, Police Retired Officers Forum of Nigeria. Sir, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us from Abuja. It's good to have you here. We've got so many interesting inquiries regarding the instance that we've seen from Abuja from yesterday, and especially regarding the contributory pension scheme, which seems to be at the heart of the matter here that's causing the protests. But first of all, we want to talk about the fact that this is something that has been, the exit policy has been assented to the presidency by the National Assembly, but there seems to be a lag somewhere. Why exactly do you think this is not being, attended to by the presidency? Could you give us an idea or where you stand on this matter?
Very much. The bill to exit police from contributory pension scheme was passed on the 4th of December 2025 by the National Assembly, led by the disgraced Senator Godswill Akpabio. Ever since the bill was signed on that very date, the bill has remained, the whereabouts of the bill has remained unknown until 16th of March, when through our consistent agitation that the bill was transmitted to the president. There are several actors who are working against the bill being given assent by the president. And one of the major actors is the DGPECOM, Ms. Omolola Bridget Oluwarana. We have said, as editors, we are not demanding for another thing, other than for the president to give assent to that bill and become laws. The two National Assembly have judiciously worked on this, and they have passed that bill. And let me take you back to the memory shortly. When the inclusion of police and other security agencies, when this bill came in, when this scheme came into being, during Obasanjo regime, was all encompassing. But thereafter, the military have been exited, the Nigerian army have been exited, the naval have been exited, the SS have been exited, the NIA have been exited. Even the National Assembly has equally been exited because that pension scheme is meant to keep federal government workers. It's meant to subject them to perpetual slavery. In fact, all over the world, there is no country that has subjected their security agencies into this kind of embarrassment called contributive pension scheme. There are businessmen and women who are using it, who are using our sweat, our pain for their own job. So the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that I know, I'm going to repeat it, is a president that have interest for the security agents, most especially the police. When he was a governor of Lagos State, he created special for police. But the problem we're having now is deliberate misinformation by top government officers who are fraudulently benefiting from this scheme. And we are calling on all Nigerians that if police problem is not fixed, forget about having any internal security. Because we are the closest to the people. We are in every community. The people come to us. We are not hidden in any barrack or any place. It is even if you bring the soldier to the street, they cannot do that work because it's not their duty. The soldiers are to provide to protect territorial integrity of Nigeria, and not provision of internal security that they are not trained of. So the continued blockage of that is what led us to the national and to the president villa yesterday. And we have had meeting with the representative of the president. They have assured us that in the next 1 week, our bill will be accepted by our able president.
Okay.
And if that is not done, we will go a little bit higher.
Oh.
We shall take our protest to the international airport, to the UN Secretariat, to the UN office in Abuja, to US Embassy, and other international offices to please prevail on our president and the federal government to assent to our bill. We want the security of this country to stop.
CSP, sir.
We want Nigeria to be safe.
CSP,
and that's
sir.
why we are.
CSP, sir, I'm glad that at least there's a bit of positivity there where you say that at least you've gotten some response from an authority regarding the president's, or maybe when the president is going to treat this matter. But I wanted to know regarding the agencies, the security agencies that have exited the scheme, what has welfare been like for them so far?
It has been so pleasant, even though it is not all that okay, but at least their immediate needs are being taken care of. If the security of the nation, if the security of the personnel are not taken care of, if adequate provision is not made for their logistics, you cannot be talking of security in Nigeria. So anybody work, but the soldiers, the SS, at least, even if their needs are not be totally taken care of, for removing them, they are relatively comfortable with it. But retaining police in the contributing person, where an ASP who have served Nigeria for 35 years will be given a party sum of 1.5 million naira as a lump sum, not gratitude as entrance in the law. The DSP 2.1 million naira, CSP 2.5 million naira, CSP 3 million naira, ACP retire 64,000 naira, etc. It is a deliberate attempt by anybody that is on it to perpetually subject Nigeria into insecurity. In fact, it's a threat to national security. Anybody that is advocating for the continued retention of Nigeria, of the Nigerian police force in that contributing person. It on this note, I want to appeal to Nigeria to please call on Miss Omolola Bridget and to leave police alone, because our action to continue to lobby for the retention of Nigerian police force into the contributing person is a threat to national security. We want to continue to emphasize this. We want security for our people. We want security for ourselves. And if the people that is protecting you are not protected, you can never get that security. That is just the
CSP, sir, I'd like to know, especially the fact that retirees describe the contributory pension scheme as unjust and exploitative. I'd like you to point to the specific structural flaws in the system that have led to irregular payments and the hardships that are being faced.
Thank you very much. Now, what is somebody going to do with 35,000, 50,000 naira every month? What is he going to do with it? In this kind of economy? The police can no longer meet their daily need, most especially medical. Our people are dying daily. Our people, yesterday, there was protest at Akure, at the governor's office. A retired police officer, SP Owolabi, whose leg was amputated, who sustained injury, he removed it and sold it to the award. There is no money to take care about their medical needs, especially when you are advanced in age. You will continue to have a lot of medical complications. They have not been taking care of it. Our previous Inspector General of Police and the management team has performed woefully in this regard. In fact, I want to thank the current Inspector General of Police, IGP Olatunji Disu, who has taken it upon himself this year. He has had meeting with us and he has assured us. But we have been skeptical because of the previous experience with former Inspector General of Police and their management team. We believe he will live by his words because the situation is pathetic. When you see the way we are living, it's pathetic. People, in fact, one thing I want you to know, the spirit of the serving police officer now across the nation is down. They are seriously demoralized because they are seeing what is happening to us. Is it what is going to happen to them after retirement? If this issue is not addressed, Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder. And I want to appeal to our president not to listen to this sycophants, not to listen to these economic bourgeoisies who are vowed to continue to feed fat on the Nigerian police force pays and suffering.
CSP, just to mention that those who argue that exiting might not necessarily be the way out because what goes to, PENCOM, or I mean, you're talking about PENCOM in this instance, you're trying to be exempted from the contributory pension scheme, but that it's a reflection of the salary, that maybe the focus should be on salary increment. There have also been suggestions that there be a presidential approval for special gratuity for police retirees at the rate of 300% of their last annual gross pay, so that the balances in their retirement savings account will be channeled towards their monthly pension payments. Do you think maybe there might be another way if this exemption is not guaranteed?
Thank you very much. One thing we want to say now, and we are the FSRC, the exit of Nigerian police force from contributory pension scheme is not negotiable. The army have exited, the Navy have exited, the SS have exited, the NIA have exited, even the National Assembly have exited. If the scheme is good, why are they all leaving the place? Our exit is not negotiable. We don't want any reform from PECON. PECON is a profit-making venture. How can they be trading with your money? In the trading, no dividend, nothing. We are not interested in any reform. They should exit us the way other security agencies are exited all over the world. There is no country that is subjected their police into this kind of traumatized situation, into this kind of wicked pension scheme. We are not interested. Even the Chile, where this scheme was imported from, their police and other security agents are not included. Why the police? What is our offense? Right. They must remove us if they want peace in this country. If we want police to go and confront armed robbers, you want them to go and confront bandits, that they can die in the process, and you are not making provision for their post-judgment life.
Our final question, because we are out of time, as quickly as you can, and I do hope that you're able to meet with the relevant stakeholders and that there's, a meeting, a consensus across board. But should that not be the case? You've said that there will be further protests. You will go to the airports. You will go to, different parts. You will take it to the federal roads. Will there be structures put in place to ensure that if this happens, that, the protest is in some way measured and, things don't spiral out of control or it's not hijacked?
Thank you very much. We are retired police officers. Most of us our intelligence officer, we work in intelligence and not rest. Since we have started our protest on 21st of January, July 2025, we have not recorded any incidents of violence, and that can never happen. That is why we are not involving even the human rights groups. We have resolved not to involve them. We are enough to take our destiny into our hands. We will ensure peace is maintained. We will ensure order is maintained throughout our agitation, now and in the future. But I am very sure in the next 1 week, our able president, who we believe is being misinformed, is now abreast with the real situation of things, and we append his signature, his signature to that bill, and it will become law. So,
all right. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. We do hope that, like you have advocated or have said, that all relevant stakeholders are able to find a middle ground so that we do not see further protests. And we want our police to be happy, because at the end of the day, you're the one who's, safeguarding us and ensuring that you're putting yourselves out there daily to ensure that our security is guaranteed. So thank you, well done. And we hope that the government, finds a way to meet your demands. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's now bring the conversation to Lagos State. We'll be joined by the Commissioner of Police, Lagos State Police Command. We have the CP Tijani Fatai, who will be joining us this morning to talk to us about the work that Lagos State has done to amplify security within the state. Good morning, Commissioner. Thank you very much for joining us. But we'll go on a very quick break. When we return from the break, we will connect with the Commissioner of Police, Lagos State Police Command, and would have a deeper conversation, not just about the protest. The core of it will be what Lagos State is doing to guarantee safety and security within the state. Please stay with us. The Lagos State Police Command has intensified efforts to tackle crime with early morning stop and search operations across key areas. Our correspondent Victor Umbadike was reporting from Bagada, I beg your pardon, and he said that the Commissioner of Police personally led the exercise. We're joined this morning by the Commissioner of Police, Lagos State Police Command, Tijani Fatai. Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner, for joining us this morning. We'd like you to speak to us regarding the stop and search and the work that the police is doing to guarantee the safety and security of Lagosians.
We embarked on the stop and search operation this morning. It's a kind of sting operation. To checkmate the activities of these hoodlums who kidnaps people for ransom in the early hours of the morning and sometimes in the late hours of the day. There have been a series of complaints as regards this, the activities of these hoodlums, and we deem it fit that these activities must be checkmated. That's the more reason why we embarked on this early morning stop and search. It's going to be a continuous one because unsuspecting commuters at times in a bid to get to their destination quickly, at times get to take buses and along the roadside instead of them getting to the park to go and take their vehicles to wherever they are going. And unsuspectingly, some of the drivers and the conductor are people that pick people with a view to extort them and get some money out of them. In this circumstance, they will be taken to a destination other than where they are supposed to go. So with this on ground, we have decided to embark on stop and search, rigorous one, in the early hours of the morning and late hours of the night, when we believe these activities are being carried out by these hoodlums.
Sir, do tell us, when Lagosians hear about the term stop and search, they're often agitated. So I'm wondering how you intend to make Lagosians more welcoming to this endeavor that the police is embarking on.
You can see that that is the reason why I decided to embark on this operation personally. In in order to get the confidence of the people that it is not business as usual. This is not done with a view to extort any members of the public. Rather, it is done to boost their confidence that police are there to protect them and as well to ensure that they get to their destination safely. I don't think anybody should entertain any fears. Stop and search is just to ensure that every members of the public are protected, like we have to protect lives and properties, and one will stop and search and ensure that the drivers, the commuters, or the passengers as well are not criminals. And with that, we believe that every members of the public will be assured of their safety. They should not entertain any fears of, because what I believe will be in their mind is that these people are there to extort members of the public again. It's not a form of roadblock. It's just a snappy operation and a sting one.
Mr. Commissioner, thank you so much. First, I must commend the Nigerian police force, of course, for carrying this out. It's something that we actually need in the city of Lagos. However, I don't know if you're aware of the activities of area boys, street urchins, and I'd like to know exactly what the police is doing as regards the activities of these people.
First and foremost, I would like to let you know that we are back on a kind of sensitization to all the area commands within Lagos State. We have 14 area commands. We have started with Agege, where we believe we have majority of these street urchins and area boys. This week we'll be going to Idimu area command to sensitize the people and to synergize with the community to help in fishing out these hoodlums and as well to help in combating this menace of street urchins. We have decided to take the war to them in their domains. We are not resting on our horse at all. We are ready to move into their areas and fish out these hoodlums and get them arrested and take them out of the street. That is what we are doing right now.
All right, and we applaud you for doing that. But even while the police has the best of intentions, sometimes it can be thwarted by the bad eggs within the force. So, in a way to curb this, some of the things Nigerians do is to film, to record scenarios. Is it a crime for a Nigerian citizen to record a police officer during stop and search?
When we know that what we are doing is the right thing, we are not. We don't entertain any fears of anybody recording us. You can record us. We can record you as well. It's on both sides. So we are not entertaining anything. Anybody can record any police officer at his duty post. In as much as the police officer is doing the right thing, he has nothing to fear about recording. So anybody can record us while we are carrying out our lawful duty.
And finally, as quickly as you can, to what extent does the stop and search get to? Because we've had scenarios of people's phones being searched, people's bank accounts being searched. Is that allowed? How should the stop and search take place?
Our men have been warned not to search any phone from any individual. We are there to search the vehicles. We are there to know who is inside the vehicle and to be assured that the people have boarded the right vehicle and not the vehicles of these hoodlums who will take them to the destination where they are not supposed to be.
All right. Honorable Commissioner of Police, Lagos State Police Command, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Kudos to the Nigerian Police Force, and thank you very much for providing the awareness. We will continue to cooperate with our law enforcement agents, to our police. After all, police is our friend. So thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right. Let's now share what's coming up next on Breakfast Central. Coming up next on Breakfast Central, Boko Haram issues 72 hours ultimatum over 416 captives. GIG to host mobility conference, the Mobility Products Conference 2026, and Abia State public schools under threat as locals encroach on premises. Stay with us.
Top story here. Boko Haram has issued a 72-hour ultimatum over the lives of 416 captives, comprising women, children, and also men, threatening to kill them or take them to different locations where they may never be seen again if their demands are not met.
Insurgents dressed in military camouflage brazenly declared They welcome confrontation, daring the government to attempt to rescue. They claim to be battle ready. The question is, are we as a nation ready to respond? Joining us for this discussion is the security expert and founder, Global Sentinel, Senator Ore-Benin. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us this morning. I'd like to ask straight up, based on the demands of the terrorists, do you think the government should even be thinking about negotiating at this point in time?
You know, negotiation with terrorists is not our state policy. So it's not something that government will, state openly to formalize. Yes, there can be a back channel discussion. It happens across the world. To try and secure them. But I don't think it's something government will say openly, okay, we're negotiating with the terrorists. Highest, they can use a third-party mediation mechanism or back channel to try and see if that is what can be done. But I want us to know that this ultimatum or whatever is a psychological operation warfare by the terrorists, to create panic among the public and also rush government into decision making. But that's notwithstanding, because we are talking about 416 lives. Our heart to them and their families who might have been going through some, disturbing moment. And again, it's the responsibility of government to ensure that every life of Nigeria matters and to ensure that this cycle of mass abduction is not something that is like a cycle repeating itself. But every measure must be ensured that the lives are secure. Why not adhering to this threat or 72-hour ultimatum or not? I don't think they can dictate to the government or Nigerians on how to behave. But still, effort must be done. Whether negotiation, we don't want to know about that. All we know is that we don't no more. Just ensure that the lives of these 416 Nigerian citizens are secured. But there are many options open to government and authorities to secure them. Not an easy one, but there are options.
So the concern as well is how mass abductions have now become, in a way, a thing of some sort. The first time we ever heard of mass abductions was with the Chibok girls, and there was general outrage, not just in Nigeria, around the world. But it seems that that same level of outrage isn't there anymore. There's either a desensitization of some sort where Nigerians have become used to this, unfortunately. And what we're seeing is that we're being responsive as opposed to being proactive. How important is it for us to have the conversation? Like, how dare terrorists have 416 Nigerians within their captivity, within their stronghold, and put the whole country under some sort of threat? How do we get to the point where we can prioritize preventing this from happening as opposed to rescuing them after it happens?
Very valid question. Like you noted, I've also expressed this concern that we are becoming used to, or becoming norm, or becoming normalized. In the past, when 2 or 3 Nigerians are killed in terrorist attack, there's always outrage. When some few people are kidnapped, you see it splash in the pages of newspaper, but it's becoming a daily occurrence. It may surprise you to know that Nigerians are kidnapped in their 2s, in their 10s on daily basis, but it never make news until it's sort of this mass abduction to tell you that it's something that is abnormality is being somehow normalized and not supposed to be. So what does it show? It shows like you are actually, you rightly express surprise. How can 416 people be, abducted and taken to a long distance without, it shows a lot of intelligence gap in the sense that also there are a lot of ungoverned spaces, to kidnap 416 is not kidnapping 46, it's not also kidnapping 4 and 6.
It's a very big number, Senator.
Big number. So it shows that there are a lot of intelligence gap, and there can also be lack of weak human intelligence, signal intelligence, and community early warning system as well.
Yeah.
So it cannot take from one point to another without, getting alarm. Then also the logistic sophistication. Before you can move these people from one, there have to be vehicle, there have to be coordination here and there, and for this to
no security checkpoints along the road.
Yes, so there are a lot of questions. It shows that a lot of things on government space is still persistence, lack of human and signal intelligence, early warning system is still there. A lot of ungoverned space is still there. And the issue of, that's why some of us are proponents of community policing have been hammering on this, and to ensure that our local governance system is strengthened. It still shows that the terrorists are still having operational freedom in a lot of spaces. Because for you to exclude this, that means you have operational freedom in a large sector of
Senator, you're saying all the right words. You're saying all the right words, and it actually makes one worry. Let's talk about method. You've mentioned a few things here which are very interesting. But the question is, from Chibok to Dapchi, what have we learned, and how have we actually maybe amended our methods to suit what we have currently? It seems like the terrorists are getting more emboldened. They're asking for more, and when they're given these monies, well, they ask for even much more. We've got boots on the ground. We've got assistance from even the United States, which people are beginning to wonder exactly where that assistance is right now. But it doesn't seem like our method seems to be matching the madness of the terrorists currently. What needs to change when it comes to that method? Are we talking more intelligence now, perhaps? You mentioned the use of a couple of tools, but what about infiltration? If this was a different climb, I bet perhaps maybe they would have tried infiltrating these communities or these little blocks of terrorists, but we don't seem to have that capacity in Nigeria, despite the talk of trainings from U.S. alliance. What do you have to say about this?
Yes, sir. I think the assistance from the U.S., let me start from there, is not a magic wand. It's not like say magic. It just comes immediately, things just translate. And they are also assisting from the background. There's a lot of uproar about their presence, so they have to step back. And the training is still ongoing, and like you say, if it's another climb, there'll be some sort of infiltration. I know in the past that something like that has happened, leading to the fracture of Boko Haram ISWAP. And there was, to an extent, they were largely degraded. But it was like after some time, there was a switch off. There was no follow-up. And these guys were allowed to regroup, readapt. Yes, fighting terrorists is hard across the world. But it seems like you noted some lessons learned have not been implemented. What did we learn from Chibok? What did we learn from Dapchi? What did we learn from Kankara? What did we learn from, some other places and apply some sort of this lesson learned? Is not, we just continue, budgeting, using the same method. So, like I rightly noted, we need to do some post-mortem to know what went wrong and how do we, plug these loopholes. I don't think we really do that in this climb. If we do, I don't think this will continue repeating itself. Most times it happens, there's outrage, government come to issue statement, and then have security meeting, and life goes on until another round. Kind of wash, rinse, and repeat kind of situation. So, like I noted, there have to be, after this intelligence-led, and you suggested before you asked a question, in infiltration of their camp, that's why I noted of lack of or weak human intelligence. This is what we call about human intelligence. And you have to work in sync with signal intelligence, electronic intelligence. Okay. And with what the U.S. is also trying to help us in the ISR, that's intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance operation, using drones. We'll be able to track, in this kind of operation, to be able to ISL, like intelligent and surgical low.
Senator, let me jump in there. Let me jump in there and say that the words that you're using now, we actually have heard. We heard this in a 10-minute speech by the president in Jos, where he also said never again. However, since then, we've had a situation, an instance where 416 people were kidnapped. So are we hearing more and more of these because there's more reportage, or are we hearing more of this because there's more emboldenment from the terrorists? And why exactly, if that is the case, are they more emboldened now when we have more attention on the situation?
The terrorists will always, like I say, this is like a psychological warfare or strategic communication from the terrorists. They want you to know that they are still around. And the more we discuss this, the more they feel, okay, we are making impact. But we can't stop. It's what I call, whenever I have in some conferences, I talk about what we call catch-22 situation for the media. The media is there to inform, to educate, and hold government accountable. You can't keep blind eye or pretend this is not happening. But in the process of discussing it, you also play into the hands of the insurgents what they want, because some of this is to ensure, but it's to prevent it actually from happening. And like you say, we keep on saying this. We have to keep on saying it because it has not been implemented. You know, it's for the government. Yes, for us as analysts, we have to mention or keep up, because this is some of the measures that need to be done. But it's also whole government that keep on saying this, like we analysts. What have you done? Is it just pronouncing it? What actions have been taken? If the actions have been taken, what results have we? And like I noted, what are the lessons learned from previous experiences? Yes, it has happened before. Let's say it's a do me once, shame on you, twice, shame on me. You know, it has happened. Let's say for the first experience, you say, okay, we've not experienced this before. Second, third, it means that we are not getting our acts together. So there can be some immediate response. Immediate response is to increase our ISR mechanism, that is the intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, to try to track, or, you know, like someone has mentioned negotiation. Officially, we don't do it, but there can be a back channel. Is to try and rescue this. That should be our first measure. Then in medium term, is to ensure that this doesn't happen again. Put up some preventive mechanism. We talk about community policing, making sure that the ungoverned spaces are not are no longer ungoverned. Take up these spaces. Ensure that. Then improving our intelligence and community policing mechanism. For a long time, it's a governance and developmental issue. You know, talking about porous borders, making sure that our local governance systems are improved. Then having the political will. A lot of statements from government, we will do this, holding security meeting. We look back and check, okay, what we've been applying this system, what needs to be done. Other clients, like you mentioned, we can learn something from there and apply it here. And look at what is not working and what is working.
Senator, I'd like to permit me to butt in here, but I understand. I mean, the fact that we're talking about this, every second is counting, every minute is counting. We're talking about 416 people in captivity, mostly women and children. Now, the insurgents have made quite a bold statement saying that they welcome the fact that the federal government can carry out a forceful rescue attempt. That's quite really, really brave of them. But I'm going to ask you, do you think at this point in time, the Nigerian government, with what we have now, should Nigerian government call their bluff? Or do you think a military move right now, rescue right now, would be risky?
Okay, I think, like I said, government have a lot of options. As an analyst, what I'll just state is the options, but I will not try to say, okay, this is what, because as we are talking here, the terrorists and insurgents are also watching, try to understand some certain things. So these options, there is the rescue options that are available, which is very risky too, but it's not undoable. There is also the third-party mediation, of which the people can be rescued or through other means. The other means to isolate the terrorists and force them to, release them without the combat operation. There can be an intelligence, like you say, infiltration, and there are many measures that can be taken. All of them not an easy route, but this ultimatum is on the terrorists, not on us or the government. They issue the ultimatum. It's not the killing or trying to kill the captive is not in their own interest, because that is their bargaining chip. So, and they can't force the hands of government to abide by their own ultimatum. But I'm sure government being in the know that it's their responsibility to ensure that every Nigerian is protected, including this 416. We do whatever it takes. But you have to do it in such a way that it's not something that you are empowering the terrorists the more or giving them an incentive to repeat such in the future. And this is where the issue lies, of which you have also asked this question repeatedly. We've had past incidences. Will this continue? So we have to also, in addition to trying to ensure that these people are rescued and not empowering the terrorists, it's also to prevent. There was in the past, we set up this Safe School initiative, and also the security within the IDPs. We can also extend this to community policing, collaboration with other local vigilance groups and other things to ensure that such things are not repeated itself. So for terrorists to keep on having the means, Nigeria, there's a lot of ungoverned spaces in Nigeria, and there's gap in intelligence gathering. These are things we need to. Prevention, they say, is better than cure. So all we talk about trying to rescue, we have to prevent in the first place.
Senator, thank you very much for joining us, Senator Ore-Benin. As at this moment, we do not have an official response from the federal government. We hope to get the response shortly, but the response that Nigerians will want to see is the release of 416 Nigerians in the captive of terrorists. We need a confirmation, from the government. Is that video real? Is it a bluff? We hope for our own sake that the video is not real and that we do not have 416 Nigerians within their captivity. Thank you for your time with us this morning. We'll see you again.
Thank you very much.
All right. We're going to break. There's still more conversations to look at this morning, so please stay with us. As mobility needs evolve beyond simple transportation, companies are being challenged to rethink how people move, connect, and experience travel. GIG Mobility is at the forefront of this shift, transitioning from a traditional transport company into a fully integrated mobility ecosystem ahead of the GIG Mobility Product Conference 2026, themed Integrato, integrating the mobility ecosystem. The company is unveiling new innovations designed to make travel more seamless, flexible, and customer-focused. Now, in this conversation, we're going to explore how GIG Mobility is redefining movement in Nigeria and what the future of mobility could look like for everyday users. Joining us now is the CEO of GIGM, Dr. Enahoro Ohai. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
It's my pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you.
Very first time to be here. It's a good morning.
Yes. Oh, let's ring the bell for you.
Go ahead.
That's a welcome for first timers to our set. Okay. So let's talk about GIG Mobilities. I mean, a number of us know about God is Good Motors. And now we're hearing GIG Mobility. What necessitated the need for, GIG Mobility, and what really is GIG Mobility about?
All right, thank you. Everybody understands God is Good Motors, which is the flagship company for all that we have built in the last few years. God is Good Motors started as that company that wanted to make a difference in the transport sector. And we made Mr. Edwin Ajari, that started the company, his blessed memory, made a lot of strides in the industry by bringing a bit of change, but unfortunately we lost him. And Mr. Chidi Ajari took over the company. And that's where people started to notice that technology is coming into the business. And we moved to gigm.com. That was when we created the first website for transportation in Nigeria. But that was not enough because it's just a website. And then we moved to GIG Mobility. that time when we developed our app. And from the app, you could access a lot more services than just the website. There's so many things you can do on our platform. We've been on the platform of GIG Mobility for a while, but it wasn't enough too. And in the last few years, we've been building seriously to where we are today. And so when you hear Integrato, basically what you're hearing is, people can go online, book a bus from our app. But imagine as a CEO, somebody calls you from the UK and says, can I get a Prado Jeep? I'm like, Prado Jeep? No, we're an interstate bus company. And then you keep getting such calls, or somebody's going to Abuja and is calling you that, can I get a vehicle to pick me up at the airport? I'm like, really? Now, as we continue to hear those needs, we started to realize that, there's something happening out there. There's a need out there. And the need is that people need a place where they can merge all their travel plans together. So as you're leaving home, whether you're traveling by bus, someday you're going to need air ticket. Now, whether you're traveling by air ticket, someday you're going to need bus. And so someday you're going to land in the airport and you're going to need a vehicle to pick you to your destination. Now, you begin to realize that these things are fragmented and people want a place where they can do all of that together. And the more we get those calls, the more we started to realize that there's a need here. And the best way to create a new product is what? Is to meet a demand that is already out there. And that's why we decided to create a super app. So we're no longer just that company that you go on the app and then you get a bus and then get a bus ticket and then you're going to Benin or you're going to Abuja. We are a platform now that you can do everything. So from the comfort of your home, whether you're traveling by by airline or you're traveling by bus, you can do everything there. We are launching products that help you complete your travel journey. So Hire X is one of the new products that we're launching that will help you to get any kind of vehicle on the platform there. We're launching Pass by GIGM. I'm sure we're going to talk about all of these. And Pass by GIGM is our own travel and tour business where you can do everything from travel and tours, whether it is hotels, whether it is air ticketing. We've got our own platform. So everything happens in one place. It's not fragmented. It's Integrato.
I'm actually on your website and I'm very impressed. I'm on the GIG website, GIGM website.
I was just looking at the little high-tech material you guys have put out for Integrato. They're very interesting, very high-tech. And I'm wondering how much tech goes into Integrato or Hire X. So these are different aspects of the same app that you've just mentioned. Am I correct?
Yeah, so you go into one app, one super app, and then you buy your ticket, you book a tour, and you also, book a vehicle that can pick you from wherever you're landing in Abuja. A vehicle can pick you. You're going for a meeting. You're wondering, how do I go for this meeting? I don't want to drive. And then you go on that app, and then you pick maybe a Lexus Jeep of 2025. You pick it right there, and it comes to your doorstep to pick you. That is how much technology is. So we've integrated everything together, and that is mobility. People want a place where they can just solve their mobility problem.
I'm very impressed. I can't even lie.
Genuinely so, actually.
I've heard a lot about different ecosystems.
Yeah.
But what does mobility ecosystem mean, especially to every Nigerian?
Yeah. So you know that when you're trying to travel, right, from your house, you're thinking, how do I pay for my bus? Or you're thinking, how do I book a ticket? Travel compared to mobility is, transportation compared to mobility is you go out there and you go to the bus park, or maybe you're able to book a ticket and then that's travel. But mobility is right from when you're thinking about traveling. You're thinking safety. You're thinking convenience. You're thinking technology. You're thinking service. By the time you begin to put all of this together, you're no longer thinking of transportation. Because if you're thinking of transportation, then you can go to Ojota and then you can enter a bus going to Benin. But if you're thinking mobility, you're thinking, how do I pay for this thing without leaving my house? You're thinking, how much service how do I get to a place where I'll sit down comfortably like we're sitting down here and I'm waiting for my bus in a well curated environment, how do I ensure that the bus that is carrying me, I'm sitting on the seat that I prefer to sit? Now you're beginning to talk mobility. How do I ensure that the journey is going to be smooth? In the course of the journey, I can watch something just like you're in the plane. How do I ensure that when I get to the other side, there's a service ready to pick me? And then now, how do I ensure that the kind of vehicle I would like to pick me because I'm going for a meeting is there to pick me? Now you're beginning to talk mobility. Transportation is, I just want to move. Mobility is fusing every single thing together into one platform. And that's where we're going. Now, ecosystem now is where you're able to do all of that in one place. So air ticketing, bus ticketing, vehicle, travel and tours, everything in one place makes it an ecosystem.
Okay, so I'm looking on your website. I'm seeing that I can actually book a bus. I can book a trip, flights. So I also wanted to confirm coverage. So far, it looks like you're having tons of monthly visits.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yep.
Yes, that's the website,
Just
right?
to confirm that she's on it.
Yes. I've seen hundreds of thousands of monthly website visits and millions of tickets already being processed. So has this been rolled out already? And let's talk about coverage. How well covered is Nigeria within this? Or have we extended beyond Nigeria yet?
So GIG Mobility, we're in Nigeria and Ghana. By the end of this year, we'll be in Cote d'Ivoire. A lot of work is going on in that regard because we need to map Africa. You understand? For the product that we're launching, our Pass by GIGM, which is our travel and tour organization, is ready for everybody. Even you can actually book tickets from location to location that is completely out of Africa. So it's a global platform. Our Hire X, which is our vehicle hire platform, premium vehicle hire platform, we're going to start from Lagos. We've mapped Lagos, and then in a few weeks' time, we're going to hit Abuja so that people in Abuja will be able to enjoy the same thing, and then Port Harcourt, and then gradually we're going to cover Nigeria. And once we do that, we're going to be covering Ghana.
I got a question, but it starts with a story. I grew up in Festac, and in Festac you have Maza, if I'm not mistaken, one of the places where GIG Motors actually started. I remember those big buses and the speakers outside of them. Follow the ladder. I had to put that in. But Nigeria's changed since the 80s.
Yeah.
There's lots of talk. In fact, we had one story today talking about insecurity. And I'm wondering what GIG has done when it comes to ensuring that people are safe when they choose your platform.
Thank you very much. Without any doubt, insecurity has been a very big challenge. The very first thing that we've done as a company is to have continuous engagement with the security apparatus of the country. When I say continuous engagement, I mean continuous engagement, direct communication with CPs across the nation. But beyond that, we, as an organization, we created our own system. So one of the things that we have done is that if you're traveling with our company, if you're traveling with GIG Mobility, you would notice that from point to point, you are stopped by a set of people that we call our rapid response units.
Interesting.
Our rapid response units are scattered around the nation to continuously gather intelligence of what's happening on the road. And a lot of times we've been able to avert terrible situations because of the quick intelligence. You're traveling, but you're on the road, and then somebody is able to say, you know what, you cannot pass this road now, right? The other thing that we've done is that we're constantly tracking. All our vehicles are tracked, and we know where a vehicle is. We know when a vehicle has stopped for a certain number of minutes, and then we're quickly checking why is the vehicle stopped? Oh, it's traffic and all of those kind of things. So we've used technology a lot to help ourselves in ensuring that we manage the security. I mean,
safety is prioritized.
It's a national challenge.
It is a national challenge indeed.
We have done all of these, and some things that I cannot say on air.
Yes,
that we have also done, to ensure that there's security. You can see I'm holding some.
Yeah, don't share your information with the public. But let's talk about Integrato, integrating the mobile ecosystem, mobility ecosystem. I beg your pardon. You have an event coming up.
Thursday.
Talk to us. Yes, this Thursday, the 23rd of April.
Yes.
Where is it happening? What time is it happening? Who are your target audience? And can anyone who's watching just show up for the event?
Thank you. Integrato, we're excited about it. It's something we've been building for the last 2 years, and it's been a lot of work. Integrato is where we put all that we've been working on for 2 years together. We're launching these products because they are very, very flagship products. This is the first major higher market platform in Nigeria. I probably would say in this side of Africa. So what we're doing with Integrato is we're launching this product and releasing it. We're beginning to release it gradually, but we're waiting till a few hours before the launch, before we push everything completely out. It's starting 10 o'clock at a hotel, and we are bringing people from the various stakeholders in the aviation industry, in the mobility industry, and stakeholders, financial stakeholders, everybody that we think that will be there. The Commissioner for Tourism in Lagos State is joining us. She'll be giving the keynote speech. And so we're excited about what we are launching because for the first time, again, so we pioneer all of these things. We pioneered technology, websites. We pioneered application. We pioneered the way you see the terminals, right? We pioneered our drivers becoming captains and wearing uniform. We pioneered the idea of you don't need to come to the terminal for you to travel with us. We can pick you on the road because on the app, you can choose a pickup location. So if you're staying beyond Ajah, for example, and you want to travel, you don't have to come back to Ajah because the bus will pick you on the road. We've pioneered all of these things. We pioneered GIGM ambassadors. A lot of people don't know that we have ambassadors in campuses, youths that are making money from our ecosystem. And now we are pioneering a super app where people will be able to do everything about travel, whether it is air, whether it is road. Very soon, if you open the app, very soon you'll see boats. So if you need to go on water, it's going to be there. We're waiting for some federal government regulatory adjustments and policies about train. Once that happens, you'll be able to do that on the app. So it's a super app, you know.
Your shoulders are getting higher and higher.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
So you talked about the app a lot. How can people have access to it?
No, just go on the iStore and the Android Google Play
Store,
and then you download it. A lot of people have downloaded our app. That's why a lot of people travel with us. So what's going to happen is once we release this for the launch, we will just force updates. And by Thursday afternoon, if you feel like using a luxurious Jeep, you know, to go for a meeting, just go to your app. And in a few hours, it will come to you.
So just to confirm, this is the GIGM app.
Yes, it's normal GIGM app upgraded into the GIGM ecosystem app.
What of Hire X and Pass on the GIG Mobility?
Everything is inside the GIGM app. Okay. So you've got one app that has everything. So Hire X is a company on its own. It's an entity on its own. Pass by GIGM is an entity on its own. But all together, it makes what we call GIGM Mobility. That's why we call it an ecosystem.
So if by the weekend, you know, my incredible management team have a meeting and decide, you know, Olive has been such a hard-working staff. We want to send her to Kenya for 3 days to just relax and refresh herself. And then go on the GIGM app and book a 3-day holiday for me.
Go on the GIGM app, you book your ticket. Okay. You'll be able to talk to someone, book your you know, we have different holiday packages already that we're going to release. Very soon you're also going to be able to, you know, pick a hotel. I hope that goes up on like Friday. And then everything in one place, you know. In fact, if you don't want to go to the airport yourself and you want to hire a vehicle to take you there, you put it right there.
Thank you very much. HR, kindly take note of this information that has been put out there.
HR, also note that we no longer like working on Breakfast Central. I'd rather go back to Extra at this point because you don't value.
No. But Dr. Enahoro Kai, thank you for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
Just to confirm for those who want to keep up to date with the information, because it seems that every day there's a new addition to GIGM. You're really setting the pace. You're not waiting for the story to be told. You are telling the story. Tomorrow we'll soon find out that we can download food directly from GIGM app. But it feels like there's nothing you cannot do.
I mean, you can pay your bills on the app right now. NEPA bills, buy recharge.
Wow.
Everything is happening on the app already.
Is there something you guys cannot do?
You know, and you have news feeds on the app.
What about Nigeria? At this point, single people, can they find their spouses on the app?
Well, I think you guys can take one.
They are finding spouses in the bus already.
Okay.
So we're going to look for how to make that happen.
Talking about
in the
sitting
app.
where you want to sit.
We're going to make that happen in the app.
idea.
But they're finding themselves in the bus already. We have people who have gotten married from just meeting themselves in the bus. And trust me, we're part of the marriage. We've actually been part of the marriages. We're represented, we're sponsoring, because you cannot find your spouse in our vehicle and they were not part of it.
So this is love. Thank you so much for
I like the
joining us this
GIGM
morning.
story. That's
And congratulations. All the best with your event happening on the 23rd of April, Eco Hotel. It's Integrato GIG Mobility Product Conference.
So if anybody wants to be part of it, they can just go on our website or the app. No, on our social media page.
Yes.
There's a place where people can register to be part of it.
All right.
And we can meet them on Thursday.
Okay, so look forward to seeing you on Thursday, and hopefully the New Central team will be there to bring updates regarding this, and we can pick up the conversation from there. Mobility conversations are unending, and GIGM is leading that conversation. We're on a break, and when we come back, there's still more to look at this morning, so please stay with us.
It's time for headlines on Breakfast Central. My name is Chiwete Onyema. I'll start off with fresh killings in Plateau State. Protests have erupted in Barkin-Ladi local government area of Plateau State following the death of 6 persons in the communities of Arum and Shanong, located in Barkin-Ladi and Riom local government areas of the state. The protesters, mainly women, were said to have blocked roads and destroyed one of the military checkpoints in Barkin-Ladi, forcing the personnel on duty to flee the area after expressing their displeasure over unending killings in their communities without the arrest of perpetrators. The Publicity Secretary of the Birom Youth Molders Association, Tengong Ruang, said the attacks took place on Sunday night between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. after bandits arrived at the communities and began to shoot sporadically. Rang further alleged that before the incident, residents of the communities had noticed a sudden influx of unknown headers into the area, which they reported to the security agencies, but expressed anger that nothing was done to avert the attacks. 3 Nigerian soldiers have been killed following a terrorist attack on a military base in Kwara State. The incident occurred in the early hours of Monday in the Kamanji community, Kayama local government area, where troops engaged suspected terrorists in a gun battle. The Kwara State Governor, Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, confirmed the attack, stating that soldiers successfully repelled the assailants and prevented them from entering the community or carrying out kidnappings. He noted that several attackers were neutralized during the confrontation. The governor extended condolences to the families of the fallen soldiers and pledged continued support. And now to police matters. President Bola Tinubu has approved a new police academy campus in Erija, Ogun State, with a 15 billion naira takeoff grant from TET Fund's 2026 allocation. The project expands the Nigerian Police Academy into multiple campuses under the 2021 Act, covering infrastructure, hostels, and training facilities. Authorities say it will boost capacity and strengthen modern policing. Meanwhile, retired officers staged a protest at the presidential villa in Abuja, blocking access to demand better welfare. They are calling for presidential assent to a bill removing the Nigerian police force from the contributory pension scheme, citing poor retirement benefits and long-standing neglect. The Supreme Court has adjourned proceedings in the Kano Emirate dispute, fixing April 19, 2027 for further hearing. The case involves a long-running tussle between Muhammadu Sanusi II and Aminu Ado Bayero. Parties presented preliminary arguments before the Apex Court announced the new date. Appellant Aminu Dans Agundis described the timeline as too distant, saying his team will seek an earlier hearing. The dispute stems from the 2020 removal of Sanusi by former Governor Abdullahi Ganduje and his reinstatement in 2024 under a new law signed by Abba Yusuf. The Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed a suit filed by Air Peace seeking to stop the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission from summoning it over complaints of unrefunded ticket fares and cancelled flights. Justice James Omotosho held that the case lacked merit and ruled that the FCCPC has powers under its enabling law to investigate consumer complaints. The judge said that the airline's argument that complainants must first be identified before appearing before the commission was premature. He further directed Air Peace to comply with the summons and appear before the FCCPC. Outside the shores of Nigeria, former Algerian industry minister Ali Awon has been sentenced to 5 years in prison. His son, Mehdi Awon, received 6 years, while businessman Abdul Mullah was handed a 10-year sentence. It centers on the illegal sale of industrial metal waste linked to public asset management during Awon's time in office between 2022 and 2024. Prosecutors had pushed for a much heavier penalty of up to 12 years for the former minister. The verdict also ties into a wider crackdown led by President Abdelmajid Tebboune, who has been running an anti-corruption drive since 2019. That's all at this hour. Breakfast Central continues. My name is Chiweta Onyema.
You're welcome. It's time for us to take a look at the front pages of the newspapers for today, Tuesday. And of course, we don't do that alone. We have a guest in the studio with us, and we have the publisher of the niche newspaper, Ikechukwu Amechi, who is in with us. You are welcome. Grant, good to have you here, sir. He has a thing with the bell.
Special
I don't know
welcome.
If it's new.
No. This is the bell of conscience. We haven't rung it today because today has been very intense.
You didn't ring it at all. Yesterday is the problem.
And
there was no conscience to be.
We did not flog anyone's conscience. Today's bell of conscience is a welcome device.
All right, Grant. I haven't opened the papers. Do you want to help us open the papers there?
All right, let's get into the papers. It's good to have you here this morning, Mr. Ikechukwu Amechi.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I know that you're planning your conference as well. I hope that we can speak about that as we get to the end of the show. But let's look into the details of the newspaper this morning. This Nigerian newspaper, the front page, retired police officers lay siege to villa over pensions. They're demanding the urgent presidential assent to police exit bill and decry contributory scheme as unjust and discriminatory. Earlier today, we had the CSP join us, and he said that the DG of PENCOM, Mrs. Omolola Oloraran, is to blame in all of this, that Army has left, all the other security outfits have left. Why are they leaving police there? And, you know, they have said that they have been given a 1 week promise that they would exit. And if in 1 week it doesn't happen, they go back to the street. And this time they will lay siege everywhere, airports, everybody will collect.
That sounded like a threat, but yeah, well, desperate times.
Anyway, PDP stable again. Defectors should return. INEC uncovers coordinated smear using fake Amukbutan X account. We'll still talk about that. Fresh plateau attacks leave 6 dead, many injured. Really sad. AIG Zone 6 directs coordinated rescue of 15 abducted victims in Cross River. CBN NCC to curb rising electronic financial fraud. These are the stories on the front page. We must mention that if you'd like to be a part of the show, the phone lines are open. The numbers to call are on your TV screen. Also to mention that we're streaming live on YouTube via News Central TV Live. So if you'd like to drop a comment about any of the stories, please join us on Breakfast Central this morning. All right? Away from the papers, let's come back to the conversation. Let's start with the Nigerian police and their desire to exit the contributory pension scheme.
See, Olive, this is a matter I am very familiar with, and I've written so much about it. It is not as easy as it sounds. And yes, do policemen deserve adequate pension after retirement? And for a man who has carried gun for 35 years to defend the country and for public interest, I think he deserves to live a better life. What you said the CP said about the army leaving, this leaving, and the police are still kept within the loop is not quite correct. Before 2004, what we used to have is what is called defined benefit scheme. And there were a whole lot of issues. Government was paying, and there was no money to pay. So in 2004, President Olusegun Obasanjo went for what is called Contributory Pension Scheme, CPS. I think the scheme that we applied was copied from Spain or so. I can't remember exactly now, but it was not ours. It was Nakore.
Our climb.
Yes. And in those claims, the police and all the security agents, we are not part of the scheme. But in Nigeria, President Olusegun Obasanjo, in his own wisdom, said the police should be part of the contributory pension scheme.
Along with the other security agencies?
No. The military was not part of it.
Never on it?
Yes, was never. So it wasn't a question of they had been allowed to exit, no. Policemen protested then, and I think in 2014, as a compromise, the president then, Goodluck Jonathan, in the amended act, considered that the police won't leave, but they will have their own special arrangement, which was what led to the Nigerian Police Force Pensions, NPF Pensions Limited. It was a scheme exclusively meant for the police. It is a one institution scheme to take care of the peculiar circumstances of the police. Now, it has run for how many years now, since 2014, up to date? I can tell you that of all police institutions that I know of, NPF Pensions Limited is the most successful police institution to date.
What are the metrics for determining its success?
The metrics for determining the success is that in terms of, because they have had a police force housing this thing plundered. They have had this in, but it is this NPF pension scheme, and it came on board as the 21st. Before it came on board, there were 20 other, and what do they call them now, that were already operating then. NPF Pensions Limited came on board and almost overtook all these other pension institutions that were already available. Policemen, retired policemen, started getting their pensions as and when due. Having said that, the truth of the matter is that how much are they paid? It doesn't amount to much, which is why they are agitating for exit. But contributory pension scheme is a function of your salary.
So the problem isn't with the pension as much as it is, because I did bring up that question with him.
The problem is with the salary. policemen historically are paid pittance.
Exactly. And so that's what they've been running from.
And the contributory pension scheme, the law says that 18%, government will contribute 10%, and of course now the retirees will contribute 8%. If you put them together, that will be 18%. But it is 18% from the salary. So if a policeman earns 30,000 naira, for instance, at the end of the month, all you have to do is to deduct the 8%, which is kept in the fund, and of course, government brings the contribution, its own contribution. This is the crux of the matter.
All right.
And this has been all this while. In fact, there was a public hearing in the House of Representatives some time ago. I was there. The MPF Pensions Limited profiled 3 solutions. Number one is that retiring policemen should be paid 100% of what they were earning as gratuity and others, and that policemen from the rank of AIG and above should also be given 100% of their just as, because that is the equivalent of permanent secretaries in the ministries. There were 3 demands that they made, which was on the table of President Muhammadu Buhari until he left office. So if they go back to define the benefit scheme,
yes,
that means it is going to cost the government about 2 trillion to settle.
All right. Let's hold a bit. We have a call from Kaduna. Let's hear from Solomon. Good morning, Solomon. Thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Good morning, News 23. Good morning. Yes, good morning. Please, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Please go ahead.
It's okay. I appreciate what you are doing there. And some of these calls, we have to lend our voices because we anticipate a Nigeria that we have to hand over to our children. This is not a Nigeria that we received from our own parents. And things are going down so very fast. And one of it is this police issue that is being discussed. Well, I wouldn't go on the first issue of protest as going now. But I would say they have to holistically look into the issue of police affairs, which may have been the reason behind the insecurity in the nation, because they are not proud of the job they are doing. You see policemen beg at their checkpoints and collect 20 naira and 50 naira at their duty post. This signifies that their welfare is very poor. And it is not something that a suicide to come and tell us. You sitting over there too, you know. So if they are protesting today, please, you have to look into it. More to what I want to say is the issue of this repentant terrorists that they are bringing back into the society. I don't know how the government judges this repentance and the machinery that is being used to judge how somebody has repented. A terrorist who just killed yesterday and the victims are alive. The people they have sent to IDP camps are there looking at them and they are being reunited into the society. Looking at them how they are being brought back to the system. When no justice has been applied and no succor at all has been given, even to the people in the IDPs, they are still there. So now tell me, my brother and my sister, is it a country we hand over to our children? Look at what is happening in Brighton, Lady. It could be the same persons who were reunited some years ago that is coming back to do it again. So my appeal to whosoever is doing this judgment is to use a better apparatus for judging how someone has repented. Repentance is someone, it is not just something that, even the case is not judged. It's God in heaven that judges repentance. So the kind of things we are using to know that people have, in fact, terrorists for that matter. We want in Nigeria where those whose voices should be the loudest should continue to be the loudest. And then next is the issue of politics as we have it now. Please, I am sure you are getting my points and please analyze them very critically.
If you
can, the divide in politics is just the common man cannot bear. Because there is a particular amount of money you must have now to be a governor, a senator, or the other person. And our APC and the other political parties have brought this on the table. It is very, very, very unfair. It is making the common man not to have a voice. The voices that should be the loudest are now the weakest. This will not give us a better country to hand over to our children. So please, I am calling upon you who are analyzing this issue to bring it to the table and to the public so that we have a better system. Thank you. We want a Nigeria that will work, and this is our prayer. God bless you.
Comments, we really appreciate that. We'll also take comments from YouTube shortly, but as quickly as you can, if you may quickly wrap up on that, because we need to go to another paper. Your thought process on that.
You were talking about 3 demands that were made.
Yes. So, all I'm saying is that when MPF Pensions Limited came on board in 2014 as a pension funds administrator that was exclusively licensed to warehouse the pension assets of policemen, it made things a lot easier. So the 3 demands that were made, and those 3 demands were specific, which is to enhance the salary of policemen and to ensure that 100% of their exit package is paid as gratuity. That means they will have bulk money with which they will solve some of these problems. And then the upper echelon from AIG and above should be treated as permanent secretaries who retire with their full
ranks, package,
emoluments.
Yeah.
So none of this has been achieved. Government.
Where did it stop? You said on the desk of the president then, Buhari, and this continues on to Tinubu, and it's gotten no.
No. It hasn't got beyond that. Mm-hmm. But where we are now is that the National Assembly has passed the exit bill. Mm-hmm. The president is reluctant signing it into law because it has financial implications. And again, some of the fears that people are expressing out there is that if you allow the police to exit, it then becomes a revolving door.
Other agencies will begin to realize that they exit as well.
Agencies will start exiting. Then where are you exiting to? You're going back to the defined benefit scheme, and the government has no money to pay. So it is a catch 22 kind of situation. Right. And the government must sit down and look at the issues very, very well. But I think the contributory pension scheme has served a bigger purpose than the defined benefit scheme before it.
All right, we'll go to our next paper, but not before we hear from Charles calling from Delta State. Good morning, Charles. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
TV set so that we can hear you clearly, and to all our subsequent callers, please turn down the volume of your TV set. Thank you. All right. If we do not have Charles, we hope that Charles can call back. Let's get to Al Jazeera newspaper on the front page. Insecurity. CDS visits Northwest, orders offensive to crush bandits. Tells troops Nigeria must be made safe. Tinubu approves new police academy campus, 15 billion naira takeoff. Woman dies after taking child to UTME center in Ondo. 2027 APC APGA fixed presidential form fee at 100 million naira and 75 million naira. Technical education, Uganda to understudy Nigeria's TVET model. Marwa orders demand national emergency on youth drugs crisis. Lagos leads with 1.04 trillion as states' FCT debts hit 4.36 trillion. Wike Wu's PDP defectors to return says there's still room. And final story, alleged certificate forgery. Ex-Minister UNN, others opt for out-of-court settlement. This situation that we thought had been swept under the carpet, apparently, Naji is not. This is not a situation of which Naji is being swept under the carpet. But what do you make of this proposed out-of-court settlement? This is alleged forgery. Can forgery be settled out of court?
Well, in Nigeria, everything is possible. It all depends if you are in the right camp. I would assume that if Nigeria were to be in the opposition, or if Nigeria were to be one of those that are seen to be obstacle to President Bola Tinubu's re-election, he may probably be in jail today. But he is there, and they're talking about out-of-court settlement. I don't know who he's going to settle with, whether he's going to settle with the University of Nigeria,
or
Unsuka, or INEC,
or the Nigerian people.
I don't know, but it doesn't make sense.
So let me read the respondents in the suit. So the respondents are the Minister of Education, NUC, UNN, Mr. Otwanya. They are first to fourth respondents. There's also the Registrar of UNN, Ujam, and the Senate of the University as the fifth, sixth, and seventh respondents, respectively. So,
like I said, it doesn't make sense. But then you ask yourself, there are so many things in Nigeria today that do not make sense. So this is one of them. It is neither here nor there. If he wants to settle out of court, let them go and settle. Is he? The truth of the matter is that Olive, if somebody comes today to say Olive did not attend so and so school,
it's not hard.
It's not big grammar.
No, I'll go to my school. I'll show my certificate. If something has happened, I'll go to my school and say, I'll check the records.
It is not big grammar. It is only in Nigeria that a man is accused of not having a certificate, and you go and hire 20 sons, like late President Muhammadu Buhari did. You hire sons and you go to court.
All right.
Instead of bringing out your certificate, instead of telling that, in fact, you don't even need to bring out any certificate. All you have to do is to school.
Simple. School should come and defend.
It is you that is being accused, not even me. So you defend the integrity of the institution, because if people are saying, if I'm saying I graduated from so institution and people are saying no, beyond me, it also affects the integrity of that particular institution. So they must be interested. So let them go and do their thing.
All right, let's hear from Kingsley, who's calling from Lagos. Good morning, Kingsley. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, Miss Central.
Yes, please go ahead with your comments.
Okay, fine. First of all, I want to thank you for this opportunity to call in and maybe air our view on matters. I want to speak on the protest by the Nigerian police. One is, it's been like, I'm not really sympathetic to their protest, and this is why. This is why, because our Nigerian police behave as if they are gotten from somewhere else. They are not Nigerian. If you look at all the protests that have been happening in this country for better Nigeria, better this, better that, even in the case of their welfare, you see them taking the government stand. The same people, maybe after some time, they will come to protest. Because, like, I should be, if I have any policemen, I should be tagging them to look at the people who have gone ahead of them who have retired now protesting to be paid their wages, what they have already worked for 35 years, 20 years, 15 as the case may be, and you're protesting. That's just one aspect of it. So I'm not really sympathetic to them. They have to really, our police need to really do more, because this is what we have been fighting for. We go every day to protest and they shoot us tear gas. And later now they are the ones protesting for the same thing that we are trying to correct today, so that everybody will have a better country to call home. Now that is one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is talking about forgery. You know, when we talk about corruption, most times we think corruption is all about stealing public funds and the rest of it. No. Is it not corrupt for a National Assembly to be removing forgery as not a requirement in maybe competing for any kind of electoral position? And we are all here sitting, so what we are trying to do literally is to kind of justify that you can forge results or forge any document, then present it, and as long as it's not in our laws, so why wouldn't it settle out of court? So it gives impetus to what he's trying to do. And you know, this selective justice, like your panelist, one of the person analyzing there said, if Nnaji was to be someone that is opposing this present government, maybe the case would have been different, like we've seen Yahya Bello and the rest of them, who were once, you know, opposing Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The moment they are in his camp, it becomes, a step in the wrist, like they want to say it. So all these things is collectively is part of the things we are suffering. Now, look at bandits, like your last caller said. You are rehabilitating people. Meanwhile, people in the IDB camps have not been rehabilitated. People in the IDB, so you're telling me, Kingsley, that if my brother or my family have been wiped out and I'm the only one remaining, and tomorrow I see someone I could recognize among the team that came to wipe out my family, so I should, all because the government has called them repentant, I should now, pally with them. I'll look for a way to take laws. I'm sorry to say, but I'll look for a way to prevent that act. It's giving. So you cannot repent.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And, you know, I hear Kingsley completely when he speaks to the idea of you can't say justice is justice if it's reintegrating terrorists back into the society that they have harmed. And, you know, it's not justice. It might look like justice for terrorists, but what of the people who have lost? But then again, speaking to forgery, remember earlier this year we talked about the grounds in Section 138 of the Electoral Act and how certificate forgery was now removed as a grounds for bringing up election petition or challenging election results. So this feels like it may be something that sets a standard for that. Very soon, we will no longer frown on forgery.
It has always not been the case. Look, Olive, go and check. And I am being very, very conservative. Almost, at least now 5%, if not more, of those who masquerade today as political leaders, they have one issue or the other with their certificates. Go and check. So what are we talking about? And what the National Assembly did was to more or less legitimize it. If it is no longer an issue, as the cause made us to understand in 2023, if it's no longer an issue, so why should anybody bother?
Okay, we're running out of time. Let's quickly take the final paper, the leadership, and if we can please flash the leadership newspaper on the screen so that Chiweta can take us through it.
Yeah, the major headline here says APC unveils 2027 election timetable, fixes presidential governors' forms at 100 million naira and 50 million naira.
That's rich kids.
I'm telling you, not just for the rich, the very rich. No respite for Ernest Obiejesi and Nest Oil as Federal High Court discharges ex parte orders restraining EFCC from investigating Amaranta Oil and Gas Development Limited and Jones Creek Hydrocarbon Limited of the alleged criminal infractions. You can find that on page 7 of the leadership. on the right side corner here, it has 36 blind candidates take UTME in Bauchi. Interesting. Go after terrorists until they are eliminated, CDS tells troops. Rescued UTME candidates. We gave bandits soft drinks.
Wahala.
Paid ransom. Say negotiators. Wow. ACTF to FG defeats terrorists before granting amnesty reintegration. Telecom Identity Portal, CBN NCC partner to flag fraudulent numbers. These are the headlines you'll be finding at the front page of the leadership. But of course, the major headline here, APC unveils 2027 election timetable, fixes presidential and governors' forms at 100 million naira and 50 million naira. Isn't this too much for what we, I mean, if we're saying that people in leadership, you know, talking about high cost in governance and all that, I think it starts from here. If someone has paid 100 million naira to get the form, he or she would probably do all that he needs to do.
I think
much
more than that is who can afford that, whether the regular person who has
so that already cuts out a major bulk of people off that cannot even qualify for this particular position.
But it is not new. If I remember well, in 2023, they also sold their presidential form for 100 million.
Exactly.
So it didn't even start today. I am surprised that we are surprised.
No, I'm not surprised. so it's not like I'm surprised per se. I'm just wondering, like, these are the issues. This is what we're talking about. These are things that we should reconsider.
But you see, much more than that is when we're talking about these, preliminaries to election or candidates being chosen and everything. I was very, very concerned with one of the headlines from the previous newspaper that has Wike telling that, he's weighing back people to.
Yes,
and I'm wondering where from the APC. Because if you look at it, the fact is that everybody kind of, once you hear APC, you hear Wike. And I'm wondering exactly how this is.
No. So he's weighing people back to the PDP.
Yes, he's weighing people back to the PDP. And I'm asking, are you weighing those that have gone to the APC on your account back to the PDP and how that's going to destabilize?
What do you think about that, Mr.
Wike knows the politics that he's playing. And the politics that he's playing is simple. He has told everybody before now that he's all for President Bola Tinubu's re-election.
Yeah, but he's in the PDP telling them to come back.
He said that, and the last media outing, and he also said that he does not see PDP presenting a presidential candidate. Mm-hmm. Of course, he gave reasons because time is too short, because he doesn't see anybody, blah, blah, blah. But the truth of the matter is that the PDP, as represented by Nyesom Wike, is a parastatal of APC. It is a PDP that is solely packaged to work for APC.
So you don't believe in the fact that they've had their convention,
No.
Yes,
they've selected their leaders, they have a national working committee?
The only reason why that has happened is because they are sure that the PDP, as it stands today, is a tool in the hands of APC. And it is as simple as that.
They are not going to change. When did this? Under your account, when do you think this change happened? Because it would seem that they were in opposition all the while. Everybody thinks so, but now you're saying it's an apparatus of the APC. So when did that happen? Is it at the NEC meeting where they talked about reconciliation? Is that what we're seeing happen?
No. It
has always been.
It has always been, and that is the reason. The Wike faction of PDP, and that was the crisis in the... Look, I continue saying this here almost every day. Nigerians need to see things as it is. Labour Party. Mm-hmm. P2B went into Labour Party, and they did so well in the 2023 election. All of a sudden, crisis from everywhere. Abure started singing a different song. Lamidi Papa, Arabami or whatever. All of them. Labour Party went to court. When the whole party was factionalized, we had a Nadi Osman faction and we had a Julius Abure fashion. The Nenadi Osman fashion went to court, and Supreme Court gave a ruling, April last year, recognizing the Nenadi Osman fashion. They went to INEC, submitted all the documents. INEC said, we will do the needful. INEC didn't do anything until P2B left. 1 week after P2B left the party, INEC recognized the Nenadi Osman. There are no fashions again in Labour Party. Abure, Arabami, Apapa, they all crawled back to the hole from which they crawled out to cause problem. Because the idea is to ensure that there is no opposition party that presents any credible decision. And this is what this is all about.
We have to go now. PDP still has its work cut out for it. They said that 95% of their problems are over, but they're still trading words. Wike is congratulating his own faction for taking over Wadata Plaza and saying that the original faction should come, and that if the other people are the authentic ones, they should come and take over Wadata.
So he still recognizes a faction?
Well, no, he's not.
Based on reconciliation?
He's not calling faction. He's not calling them faction. We're the ones calling them faction. But we're out of time. Very quickly, we're counting down the hours to the NISH 2026 annual lecture. Talk to us very briefly about it. Where's it happening? Who can attend? What do we expect?
Well, it is an open event, so anybody who wants to can attend. The NISH has this annual lecture. That's what we do. That is part of our own CSR. So every year we go and look for somebody who we think can speak to issues in the country. This year it is the governor of Abia State, Dr. Alex Shoma Oti. Don't forget that Alex Oti was a banker who rose to become the MD of Diamond Bank. And he's going to speak, the theme of the lecture is Governing the Economy, Choices, Trade-offs, and National Priorities.
Right.
So we are trying to, because look, we can argue all we want. I think the problem is the economy. If people can put food on their table, over 60% of the problems we have in this country will be solved, including the issue of insecurity. We'll begin to have a handle on some of these issues. So we are saying the politicians dwell on a lot of irrelevant issues. We are saying, as the former US President Bill Clinton will say, it is the economy stupid. So let us go back to the economy. The event is taking place this Thursday, April 23rd, and the venue is the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. It will start 10 a.m. And I'm calling on Nigerians. As we are going into another election year, let us begin to address the issues that should matter most to us, and that is how do we come out of the economic quagmire that we are all in now.
Right. Thank you very much. I like that, and I must commend you for taking the conversation beyond here on TV to practical conversations as well in the open space for people to attend. So we look forward to seeing you all there at the NISH annual lecture. Thank you, Mr. Ikechukwu Amechi. Thank you to our virtual audience, our guests. We'll be back again, same time tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.